Okay, in April, I finally got round to finishing Brandon Sanderson's Mistborn Era 1 trilogy, and top headline is I was absolutely blown away. I thought it was amazing. It immediately goes into definitely my top 10 trilogies, maybe even top 5, but just wanted to do a quick top level review of my thoughts on each of the books and then overall the whole trilogy. So, first of all, Mistborn, absolutely stunning as an opening novel in a trilogy. But what I really love about it is that you could read this as a standalone book. All of the plots and the threads get tied off at the end of this book, and you could choose not to go on to the Well of Ascension and be perfectly happy having read this as a brilliant fantasy novel. Obviously, we get the introduction of ideas and themes that are then carried on through the rest of the trilogy, and that's kind of the genius of the whole thing. But in terms of this book, brilliant heist plot, nice kind of master and apprentice with Kelsier and Vin, and then that kind of pauper infiltrating high society, learning how to be a lady type plot, and with the romance that goes along with that is also highly compelling and just serves the plot brilliantly whilst giving different angles and just different kind of perspectives on the whole world that Brandon Sanderson's building. Obviously, you get the introduction of the magic system, which I don't think anybody is surprised in a Brandon Sanderson novel that it is absolutely brilliant and amazingly thought through. So you've got two different magic systems introduced in this book. You have the allomancy and the feruchemy, and they're both just brilliantly independent but also interconnected, and just absolutely love Mistborn. And I did read it and I left the Well of Ascension for a little while later, but I did eventually come onto it, and let's move on to that. Well of Ascension, book 2. I know a lot of people say they feel that this is too slow and struggle to get through it. I honestly didn't find that. I did think there were some more problems with the writing in this one. I think it is the weakest, not by much, but I do love the exploration of the political intrigue, the investigation into the mystery of the deepness. I think the main problem with this book is that Brandon Sanderson introduces too many random perspectives throughout, and it really, I think, halts the momentum. And I wonder whether that's what people mean when they feel like it's a bit of a slog getting through. Because actually, I like fantasy books and books in general. I think there should be tight perspectives. We have, 2-3 chosen people. In this one, we get Vin, we have Sazed, and we then get all of these random introductions of Zane and Straff, some random bloke on the council at one point. I just think if the main characters that we're seeing the story through the perspective of don't know this information, then we as a reader don't need to know it, and we can just see the story through their perspectives. That said, I love this book. It told that story of, so your rebellion was successful. What do you do now? How do you consolidate power? How does that rebellion translate into creating a new society? And obviously we have Ellen's perspective on that as well. But absolutely loved this, and I thought it set up the series really nicely for the Hero of Ages. So whilst I do think this was ever so slightly the weakest book, I think it served so many good purposes in terms of creating the context for what will be an absolutely amazing finale. So finally, the Hero of Ages, the final installment in this Mistborn Era 1, and just absolutely amazing. We get just this really interesting perspective of a really depressed Sazed throughout. But also we get the introduction that I was totally not expecting of the perspective of Spook, who just has such a brilliant story to tell, and a great way of viewing the world, and a great backstory of his own that brings this kind of unique view of the world. And it just did such a good job of tying together all of these themes that Brandon Sanderson had been weaving through the earlier novels and building to an absolutely epic climax. You know, some of these fight scenes and the unpicking of the mystery of the deepness and why the mist exists and how that has been interpreted versus how it's been intended by the creator of it. I just thought it was absolutely phenomenal, and it just stuck the landing in a way that you really want, sort of satisfying but not predictable. And yeah, just overall, I think, you know, when you're thinking about the third book in a trilogy, the final installment, I guess, in a series, you're thinking about that overall experience of the trilogy and that journey. And I think this is an absolutely amazing example. So yeah, as I said, this goes firmly into my top 10 trilogies or series of books of all time. Might go into the top 5. I'll probably do an updated top 5 series later this year, and I would maybe have this as a good bet to be inside it. So yeah, Mistborn, Era 1, you know, top, well above a 4 out of 5, maybe 4.5 out of 5 overall as a trilogy. All of the books were in excess of a 4 out of 5 on the scoring system. I would say maybe Mistborn is the strongest of the 3 books, but Hero of Ages is not far behind. So yeah, there's my review of Mistborn, Era 1, and hope you enjoyed it. Let me know your thoughts if you've read it below, and I'll be back with some more thoughts on some more books in the near future.